Hey, welcome to day 24 of the Starting a Software Company in 100 Days project. Nick from Playbook, as well as our other company, Harvest Profit here. Hope all is well. Just want to follow up on yesterday's video. I mentioned that I was taking a day to be with family. My dad was recently diagnosed with colon cancer and had surgery. It turns out, cancer hasn't spread. Things are good. The surgery went as good as possible. And so excited to share some good news with you there because at the end of the day, we all have lives outside of our business. And so today I wanted to talk about KPIs and metrics. When I started Harvest Profit, I started it as a side project just for myself. I was doing consulting work and I wanted to have a tool that would help me scale that consulting work. So rather than being capped out at 30 or 40 customers, maybe I was going to try to put systems in place to get up to say 100 customers. Each one of these customers was paying somewhere between $4,000 and $8,000 a year for consulting services. And at the end of the day, I just started out as a tool to explore the avenue of getting more consulting customers. But what I found out was I came across a lot of people that wanted the software but didn't necessarily want the consulting. So we started selling the software outside of the consulting. With that said, I didn't put much emphasis at all on tracking any sort of metrics, any sort of KPIs. And in addition to that, the business that we sell Harvest Profit into is highly seasonal. It's farming. Usage is dramatically lower during the busy times of the year when our customers are planting a crop, when they're harvesting a crop, and it's the highest usage of our product is in the winter when they're doing financial planning and budgeting. And so we have the seasonality component, the fact that I didn't start out doing the best metrics tracking. It has led me to wanting to put more measurable progress in place. If you listen to my video from a few days ago where I talked about freemium pricing, if you're going to have a higher velocity freemium pricing model, you really have to be on top of your metrics. And so this isn't earth-shattering to somebody who's been in the SaaS business for a while, but just wanted to share with you what we're trying to do and some metrics that we are going to put in place as a starting point for Playbook and iterating on that as we go. So the first one is visitor to paid conversion. That's obviously a big one. It's going to obviously differ a lot by home page versus landing page, but just tracking, paid conversion isn't the right thing. Visitor to trial. The next thing I want to track is trial to second login, second visit. So if anybody signs up for a trial, what percentage of those people visit the tool, visit the software a second time? The other thing is trial to process creation. So if they create a process, what percent of the people who sign up for a trial create a process? And then the other thing is who invites a team member. So tracking trials to team member invitations. And so all of these metrics will have a big impact on converting trial users to paid customers, especially given that we are obviously using a freemium pricing model. And the other thing that we want to focus on is there's really two other metrics, daily active users over total users. There's some questions on whether this should be on whether total users should be monthly active users, if it should be paid users, free users, all. And so we'll probably test out different cohorts or different buckets there of daily active users over only the active users, only the paid users, only the free users, all users. And so that's a metric that'll just track overall usage, overall stickiness of the product, is DAU over the denominator user bucket. And then the other metric, which will be specific to Playbook, is tracking process activations over the same user bucket. So a process activation is when a customer or a user turns on or activates a process template that they have, or a one-time task or a one-time process. So how many processes are they activating in their account? And so not only will that show you active use, who is active in their account, but it will also show us, if they're creating more processes and executing more processes, that's a pretty high correlation to getting more value out of the product. And not only will that, be a good indicator on just the health of the business, but the health of our relationship with our customers and the health of getting the customers to get as much value as possible out of Playbook. And so these two metrics, I think could be considered, your North Star metrics, things that you're driving towards that have a very high correlation to the overall, future success of your business. And so we are going to be tracking, really all of these. The other metrics I wanted to talk about quickly is, marketing attribution. Tracking all of these visitor to trial metrics, all of these based on cohorts of where they came from. And so then on top of that is just the ROI. If we're doing paid acquisition, tracking ROI and really the next level of ROI based on the marketing channel where we acquired those users. And the other thing that I've started to hear more about that we've frankly done a pretty poor job of at Harvest Profit is if a customer signs up, a trial sign up on the first visit, but that's fairly easy enough. But then, if they sign up on the second visit or the third visit, where did they come from? And what's the ROI of that channel? When you have, oftentimes you will introduce a user to your product via a paid acquisition or maybe just some organic traffic, organic keyword or blog post, or clicking a link on a YouTube video like this. But where do they, when they come back a second time, do you do some retargeting? Or are they a common follower of your blog? And so trying to track that next level of marketing attribution, I think, is going to be more and more important. But for us, we're probably going to kick the can down the road on some of this more in-depth marketing attribution and really focusing on, all right, how can we get visitors to try out Playbook? How can we get them to initiate the value creation process? This isn't like, uploading a video to a service like Wistia or connecting two APIs and using a tool like Zapier. This requires collaboration. It requires effort. And so this is going to be, these three are going to be very, very important on doing whatever we can to get a user to actively start using Playbook to manage the processes and the standard operating procedures of their business. If we can nail this, that will be a key win in the success of Playbook. Then we can start to focus on, all right, these North Star metrics. How do we further increase the stickiness of the product by measuring the usage of the product? How do we get more customers, and how do we attribute ROI to those marketing channels? How do we tweak our landing page to get more free trials? All that stuff becomes very important and are important levers that you can pull on and control in the business. But for now, I think really the number one thing is, we obviously need to get some trials. That's, should be common sense. It's common sense. And then how do we get the product, how do we get the users to use the product? And so that's going to be the key challenge. And frankly, I think probably the key issue or the potential hurdle of this product succeeding at all are these three things right here: getting people to actively start using the product. We're going to have a lot of tire kickers, I just know that, but if we can trend this higher into the right over time, I think that's what we really need to focus on. And so with that, I just wanted to share another day in the journey of Playbook with you. I appreciate you following along. Would love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, to visit getplaybook.com and sign up for our mailing list and track the progress as we get closer to launching the product. So we're almost a quarter done here and making some good progress moving forward, and just wanted to share with you our thoughts on how we need to do better metrics tracking, and really that'll be the gauge of our success, is getting as many users as we can to use the product. And if you don't have metrics and historical data to go off of, you are flying blind, and we aren't going to fly blind here. So thank you for following along, and we will talk to you tomorrow.